Now, the title of my little talk is called Finding Time for Me Time. And I think it kind of, continues well to what Grace covered last week. Some of the things that I will want to cover is why do we need to take a me time? And who's stopping us from doing that? And how can you make it happen? And tips, and also we will look at what the Bible says about it. First, I'm going to start with a little story. It's about this lady. Her name was Pretty. Pretty was 25 years old when she met the love of her life. Pretty had dreamt of how she'd one day meet a Prince Charming who would sweep her off her feet, falling in love and living happily ever after. Isn't that what we have all been taught in the Cinderella story? And we are sold to these fairy tales from a very early age. So Pretty came from a loving family. Her father, who loved her so dearly, started saving money to wed her off very, very early on. And this is something that is a custom. So when Pretty met her Mr. Right, it wasn't a surprise when the day arrived. Her dad gave her an extravagant and lavish wedding. Hundreds of well-wishers came to see her married off. The guests came from far and wide across the globe as a sign of prestige. Her dad hired the most expensive hotel, a 5-star hotel, and he booked all the rooms so that her guests could, first of all, have a very comfortable stay, but also make sure that they are able to experience what the city and the family had to offer. So you can imagine the food, the drink, the sweets, and all the delicacies that were flowing endlessly that left the guests speechless. And as if that wasn't enough, Pretty and her new husband were showered with gifts from both families: gold, beautiful clothing, kitchenware, bedware, money. Let's just say they were given enough that they didn't need to go to the shop to buy anything for many, many years. Pretty moved into her new family, her husband's home, where he lived with his parents, his grandparent, and his other siblings. And as you can imagine, Pretty is an outsider, so she really wanted to make a good impression of her in-laws. She woke up early to make sure that she prepared the family food. She cleaned up, prepared everything for her husband, even packing his lunch. And this was before she actually went to her full-time job. And the weekends were no less busy. She started by, first of all, going shopping and making sure that all the food was stocked up and the fridge was replenished, and also any shopping that was required. She also took her in-laws up and down wherever they wanted to be taken. Pretty was so much loved by not only her husband, but by her in-laws. She was a perfect daughter-in-law. After about a year, Pretty was blessed with 2 beautiful children, a daughter and a son. This was an epitome of her life. Give them the perfect life that she herself had enjoyed. So she made sure that they started education at an early stage, started taking them to different extracurriculum, all bliss and perfect for everyone in the family. Now this extra work came in addition to her daily routine that she already had, which started early at 5 a.m. But instead of coming home and resting, she now had extracurriculum for her children to run around. And when she got home at 8 p.m., she couldn't just, throw her shoes and sit and rest. Instead, she had now to make sure that everyone was fed and make sure they were all comfortable in bed. This was before she could finally roll and get in her bed at around midnight. And that started all over again the next day. Pretty was also doing an impressive job at her work. She had recently got up the ladder, and and she was now the new manager of a huge hotel chain, responsible for hundreds of staff and of the sales as well. She delivered above and beyond and met all her targets. She was loved by her boss. On the other hand, due to her busy schedule, she had stopped seeing so much of her friends because she just didn't have enough time in the day to squeeze them, which they understood because of how busy she was at home and at work. So one day, her boss was so happy because of the results, and they wanted to honor Pretty. So she was invited to go into this party, which normally she would never do, and she was told she must attend. So Pretty, being Pretty, she made everything perfect at home before she settled. So her kids were all set, they had been fed, mealtime, everything, the evening routine had been done before she set off. So Pretty dressed to impress as always and showed up. As soon as she got out of her car and walked into the hotel lobby, Pretty collapsed. The hotel urgently called the ambulance, but sadly, Pretty was pronounced dead when they arrived. She was 35 years of age. The post-mortem showed that Pretty had died of exhaustion. Her friends and family mourned and buried Pretty. What a loss of life. Her loving father had now lost a daughter, a beautiful daughter that he loved so much. Her dear children had lost a mother who could not be replaced. Pretty's husband was now a widower. Her in-laws also now didn't have someone to take care of them. And her friends just dearly missed her. How could this family cope? Everyone wondered. So all their friends and family worried about the husband's well-being. How was he going to cope? That was the biggest question. A few weeks after the burial, their friends decided to go and pay the family a visit to offer their support in any capacity they could possibly can. Some were willing to offer to drop the children to the school, to pick and drop them to the clubs, or even help with shopping when they were doing theirs. So as they sat on the table with Pretty's husband, they all looked very concerned when they asked him, "How are you coping?" And he said, "I'm coping just fine." And they said, "No, seriously, we're here to help. How are you coping?" Pretty used to do so much. So we're just concerned and we're willing to do whatever it takes to make you comfortable. And he turned to them and said, "Oh, actually, I have hired 4 people in the house. I now have a chef who will take care of the family food needs. I have a nanny who is now taking care of my children needs, the drop-offs, the pickups, and whatever else the kids needs. I have a housekeeper who's now taking care of the house and making sure that my parents and my grandparents are also comfortable. And I also have a gardener to make sure that the garden is well tended. So actually, I am coping okay." Wow. The friends were left shocked. Why didn't this man try to help his wife while she was alive? Because surely she would still be here today. I don't know whether you have heard such stories where women and even men work themselves to death. They have collapsed or found sleeping and dead because they work so hard. The saddest thing is that nothing stopped after Pretty's death. Everything went on as if she was still alive. Isn't that sad? So the question we should ask ourselves today, who was stopping Pretty? Or who stops you and me? And the answer is simple: nobody. we stop ourselves. Pretty, you, me, pretty. Every woman, we want to do everything. We want everything to be perfect, but we are not superwoman. So if you don't take care of yourself, just like pretty, nothing will stop. Working extra shifts, running up and down, doing things for your family to make sure that everything is perfect, and sending lots of money back home. I tell you, if you drop dead, nothing is gonna stop. So why is it important to take some me time? Women today have been told to have it, that we have it all. We have career, we have families, kids, community involvement, and relationships. But all too often, having it all leaves us with no time or strength left out of ourselves, for ourselves. So research has shown that women today are less happy than they have been over the past 40 years. There are many theories about why, but stress and lack of free time can be a major contributor. There is tremendous amount of stress and pressure put on women, being parents, being daughters, mothers, wives, professionals, mother-in-law, daughter-in-laws, and all wanting us to be perfect. All of these roles combined leave many of us not taking adequate care of ourselves, which is what sustains and gives us the energy to take care of all those other responsibilities that we have. So whether we are having little toddlers in the house that are keeping us awake, we're staying up in the night wondering what time your teen will come home, caring for your aging parents, all of the above, every woman needs an occasional break for sanity's sake. So this means taking time each day to do something for yourself. So you may ask, but how can you make this happen? Number one, make yourself a priority. First, realize how important it is. Most women have trouble even feeling like they're worthy of being put on our own priority list. So if you can't do it because you feel like you deserve it, look at it this way. You are a fast responder. Imagine going to an emergency. What would you like your A&E doctor to be like? I'm sure you would like your A&E to be up, alert, and ready to attend you, not groaning tired or even sleepy. Really, we need to be well rested and restored as you would want your A&E doctor to be. And besides, taking care of yourself will make you a better parent, a better wife, partner, and you will be more fun to be around and more responsive to your family. So now that we know we have to make ourselves a priority, and I'm sure maybe I've convinced you to, it's time to take time for you. So how can we go about it? So don't just wait for the time to magically appear. It will never happen. So we need to schedule in time. We need to schedule time. So make your free time as important as any other appointment that you have, whether it's your GP appointment or your pediatrician, the conference call, and your meeting with contractors. Treat it just like as important. So when you schedule in your time, that is the most important time, because that is the time you'll be taking care of yourself. So you have to build in your battery recharge time. We are very good at project management in work and even our home lives, not so well in our personal lives. So treat it like any other project. I want to schedule my battery time so I don't feel frazzled and worn out. Try to find at least half an hour or an hour every day for yourself. And it doesn't have to be all at once. It can be staggered. And before you decide what you're going to do with the time you're building up into your schedule, promise yourself that you won't waste it. So you must take it. And the other thing as well, we've been told that women are so amazing. We are good at multitasking. But if we are having a conversation with a friend, we are too busy thinking about the other things that we have to get done. So instead, you need to be present, be in the moment. So whatever you're doing for you, don't be thinking about your grocery list or the dirty dishes in the kitchen or the PowerPoint presentation that you need to finish. There are a lot of time in our daily day that we could be enjoying, but we lose it because we are focused on what we have to do next. So you don't need a lot of time either. Here are some tips and ideas for making the most of your time and enjoying your me time. So number one, you can schedule a massage, a facial, and a pedicure. And there's so many companies now that are giving discounted vouchers, things like Groupon and many others out there. You can either get that and actually go to the parlor and just enjoy to be pampered. The other thing also, you can do it at home. Just get everything that you need and dedicate maybe a day in the evening and just say, I'm not going to be bothered by anybody. You want anything, go and do it. And this is my me time. So make everyone in the house aware that actually mom is taking a me time, or I am taking a me time. The other thing is taking a nap. Number 2, take a nap. And I find this, especially for me, extremely helpful. By the end of the week, I find myself exhausted. In fact, I remember one of the evenings when I came home. It was on a Friday evening. I was so exhausted. This was before pre-COVID. After the whole week of commuting and being so busy at work, I just couldn't do anything. I came home and I slept on the couch. After a while, my daughter came to me. I think it was around maybe heading to 7. And she said, "Oh, mommy, are you not going to serve us dinner?" And I said, "Oh, darling, mommy is so tired. Just go in the kitchen and fix something for yourself." My daughter went in the kitchen. She didn't ask me a question. I'm talking about a girl who was 11 years old then. She went in the kitchen. She took some chicken that was in the fridge. She put that on a pan to pan fry. She also made some tomato sauce. And also she took some broccoli. She boiled that, and she took some pasta and boiled it. Within about half an hour to 45 minutes, my daughter served me a meal that she had made from scratch. And I was asked to, "Mommy, sit up and have your dinner." I was like, whoa, I was blown away. I ate the food. The food was amazing. The only thing that it lacked was salt. And she said, "Oh, Mommy, did I do a good job?" I said, "You did fabulous, darling. It tastes so wonderful. Next time, just remember to taste your food as you're cooking so that you can make sure the salt is enough." But it's not a problem because actually we can add salt. She brought the salt and we ate a loving dinner. We sometimes underestimate what our children or even our spouses can do. Just because we run around, we think that they cannot do without us. But that actually taught me that actually they are capable of doing more than we give to them. Number 3 is schedule a class that you always wanted to take just for fun. For instance, you can join a book club, and if you don't have one in your place, you can actually start one yourself with your friends. Join a comedy class, a cooking class, etc. Just commit to it though. Whatever you decide to do, just to do for fun, just make sure you schedule that time and you do it. Number 4 is plan along with a friend. once a week, and commit it early in the week so that you both are aware when you're available, and honor that commitment. You're not training for anything, so you don't have to try and impress anything, or you're not racing for anything. You're simply going for a long stroll with your friend, and you are going to enjoy it. And that's the achievement you're getting out of it. Number 5, have one night that you don't cook. Instead, you can order in some food, some takeaways. Or if not, you can also maybe make sure that you have food that is in the freezer so that you're not going to cook. For me, what works is every Friday, I have made it no cooking day. And regardless what is there, I'll say we're ordering in. So there are quite a lot nowadays, to be honest. From Nando's or Gamama, if you want something healthy, or even your local African restaurants. And it's also good because, as we know, especially with COVID, we are also promoting these businesses, which we need them to thrive. Finally, schedule your day in accordance with your schedule of the family members in your house. So what do I mean by this? Sometimes we would like to take time off at a certain time, but if everybody is not there, or they're busy, then you're still stuck. So let's say, for example, your husband leaves the house at 8 a.m. in the morning. You can go to yoga at 6 a.m. That's just an example. Or prepare your food a night before, or at least prep the ingredients so that you can save some time in the morning for your morning routine. And remember, you have to have a schedule for yourself instead of randomly doing everything every time and still feeling overwhelmed. So self-care is essential for happiness and well-being. So let's look, what does the Bible say as I close? We've seen that sadly Pretty was too busy pleasing everyone. She was pleasing her husband, her in-laws, her children, and even her boss. But Galatians 1:10 says, "For am I now seeking the approval of man or of God? Or am I trying to please man? If I was still trying to please man, I would not be a servant of Christ." So sometimes we know that in order to have a good relationship with God, we need to have time to read our Bible, to pray, and because we have told that we have to put everything to God in prayer. But if you're going to be so busy, you actually won't even have time to pray to God. So make sure that you're taking time so that you can actually schedule in the me time. And actually, that is one of the other things you can do. Just schedule time. If you don't have nothing else to do, read your Bible and pray. Philippians 4:6 also says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your request to God, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your heart and your mind in Christ Jesus." So most of the time, why we want to do everything, why we want things to be perfect, it is because we are anxious. We're anxious. What about? What if? And especially, what if, my friends? What if? We're always looking for that the grass is greener on the other side. And for that, we end up being anxious. But the Bible is telling us, do not be anxious for anything. What you think is a problem, then put it in prayer and petition to God. And through Jesus, you will have it. And Matthew 11:28 says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." I love that, because actually God wants to give us rest so that we don't have to be tired. We don't have to die of exhaustion, but just allowing God, just coming to God And the beauty of it, he doesn't want us to do anything miraculous. He says, come to me as you are. You don't have to think, oh, I need to dress this way, I need to look this way before I go to God. God created you. He says he knew you even before you were born, when you were in your mother's womb. So, and also he planned you. He planned your every day. Everything that happens to you in life is not by chance or by coincidence. It's because God had predestined everything that was going to happen. So you don't need to worry. So he says, come to me as you are. It doesn't matter what is going on at that particular time. Just say, God, I need you right now. And he will show up and he will give you rest. So you can actually have perfect peace as he has promised to us. And 1 Peter 5:7, he says, cast all your anxiety on him because he cares. God cares about you and I and every other woman and every other human in this world. Just if we can learn to cast our cares to God because he cares for us. If we can just do that, we won't need to be anxious. We won't need to worry, because sometimes we plan so much. I want to do this, I want to be there, I want to be the other. That is not to say that we shouldn't plan, because anything we do without planning is we are planning to fail. So we need to plan everything we need to do, but remember to present it to God, because if we do, he's going to guide us. Proverbs 3:5-6 also says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. And I love this, because sometimes you think you have a perfect plan. I'm sure, ladies, you understand. You've mapped every single thing out. What can go wrong? And as soon as, even before you start, things start to crumble. Now, we beat ourselves, right? We're like, oh, it wasn't meant to be that way. And we start forcing things because that was not part of your plan. But actually, we forget that actually God has a plan in our life. That has taught me so much. Sometimes when I have planned things and things are not going according to my plan, I just decide to, I just say, you know what, God, I know you have a perfect plan for me. So really, I am going to let it be. I know I had a plan which I thought is perfect, but I'm sure God had a better plan because he could see the pitfalls that are coming. I always like to say that human beings, we're very short-sighted. We are almost like a driver who's driving a car. Now, when you're driving a car on a road, you can only see the farthest your eyes can see. So if there's any meanders that are coming up your way, you will not be able to see it. However, God can see it. God can see what is coming next. So we don't even need to worry. Just like we trust our sat navs, or we sat the fact that we know I'm coming from, especially when I'm coming to either going to my brothers or my sisters, I almost closely close my eyes because I know the way so well. I don't even need a sat nav. It's there, it's ingrained in me. So the same way that I think, I know the way, is the same way we need to trust God. Because if you see things are not going well, don't force it. Say, God, I know you know my situation. I know you have perfect plans for me, and I know your plans are perfect. Because he has told us, even when we don't see it, when we don't understand, we don't realize, God's plan for those who love him are always perfect. And finally, I will leave you with John 14:27, and it says, Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. So God does not want us to be anxious. He does not want us to be afraid. He knows that there are situations that will come in our life that are going to leave us frightened, that are going to leave us thinking, oh, what did I do? It doesn't matter what mess you have done. It doesn't matter where you have been. God knows and loves you so much. And as long as we can learn to lean on him and to trust him fully, then he's going to guide us. and He is going to make His perfect will come to pass. So it is my prayer that as you will prioritize yourself going forward, that you are going to enjoy this time. We are in summer now, so we need our vitamin D. So go out and enjoy the walk in the sun. And actually, by doing that, as we discussed a while ago, you will be fulfilling 3 principles of health. These are getting your fresh air, as Grace alluded to us just a minute ago. You will be also getting your exercise, because we need to move. And also, you will be getting sunlight, which is also one of the health principles that you need daily. And may God bless you. Thank you.